Wars have shaped human history, changing borders, governments, and the lives of millions. Among all conflicts, the world wars are the most significant because they involved many countries and affected the entire world. World War I and World War II have already happened, while World War III is a possible future conflict that people fear and discuss. This article explains the causes, events, and impacts of World War I and World War II, and also discusses the concept of World War III. World War I, 1914 to 1918. World War I, also known as the Great War, began in 1914 and ended in 1918. It was the first global conflict involving many powerful nations from Europe and other parts of the world. Causes of World War I. The main causes of World War I are often summarized by the word MAIN, militarism. Countries built strong armies and navies. Alliances. Nations formed military groups and promised to protect each other. Imperialism. Countries competed to control colonies and resources. Nationalism. Strong pride and desire for independence increased tensions. The immediate cause was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in 1914. This event triggered a chain reaction of war declarations. Major events trench warfare became common, especially on the Western Front. New weapons like machine guns, poison gas, and tanks were used. The United States entered the war in 1917, supporting the Allies. Results and impact. World War I ended in 1918 with the defeat of the Central Powers: Germany, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire. The Treaty of Versailles punished Germany heavily. Around 16 million people died, and many countries were left economically weak. The harsh treaty later contributed to World War II. World War II, 1939 to 1945. World War II was even more destructive than World War I. It started in 1939 and ended in 1945. Causes of World War II. The unfair Treaty of Versailles created anger in Germany. The rise of dictators like Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, and Hideki Tojo. Economic problems after the Great Depression. Germany's invasion of Poland in 1939, which caused Britain and France to declare war. Major events. The world was divided into allies, USA, Britain, USSR, France, and Axis powers, Germany, Italy, Japan. The Holocaust resulted in the murder of 6 million Jews. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, bringing the USA into the war. The war ended after the USA dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. Results and impact. World War II caused the deaths of over 60 million people. Europe and Asia were badly destroyed. The United Nations was formed to prevent future wars. The USA and USSR emerged as superpowers, leading to the Cold War. World War III, a possible future war. World War III has not happened, but it is often discussed as a future global conflict. Possible causes: conflicts between nuclear-armed countries, political tensions between major powers, cyber warfare and advanced military technology, climate change and competition over resources. Nature of World War III. Unlike previous wars, World War III could involve nuclear weapons causing massive destruction, cyber attacks on governments and infrastructure, space warfare and artificial intelligence. Potential consequences. World War III could be more destructive than any previous war. Millions or even billions of lives could be lost. The environment could be severely damaged, and human civilization might face collapse. Because of this danger, world leaders try to solve conflicts through diplomacy and international cooperation. Comparison of World War I and World War II. Although World War I and World War II were different in many ways, they also shared some similarities. World War I was mainly fought in Europe and focused on territorial control and alliances. It involved traditional warfare such as trenches and infantry soldiers. In contrast, World War II was truly global and involved advanced technology, including airplanes, submarines, radar systems, and nuclear weapons. Another major difference was ideology. World War II was strongly influenced by fascism, Nazism, and militarism, while World War I was mostly about power, alliances, and nationalism. The loss of life in World War II was much greater, and civilians suffered more than soldiers due to bombings and genocide. Role of technology in the World Wars. Technology played a major role in shaping all world wars. In World War I, machine guns increased death rates. Poison gas caused painful injuries and fear. Tanks were introduced for the first time. In World War II, fighter planes and bombers destroyed cities. Radar helped detect enemy attacks. Atomic bombs changed the future of warfare forever. In a possible World War III, nuclear missiles could destroy entire countries. Artificial intelligence, AI, may control weapons. Cyber warfare could shut down power grids, banks, and communication systems. Technology has made wars faster, deadlier, and more dangerous for humanity. Impact of world wars on society. The world wars deeply affected society, culture, and human thinking. Millions of families lost loved ones. Women entered factories and workplaces, changing gender roles. Many countries gained independence after the wars. People began demanding peace, human rights, and democracy. The trauma of war led to peace movements and international organizations aimed at preventing future conflicts. Why World War III must be prevented. World War III would not be like earlier wars. With nuclear weapons and modern technology, the damage could be irreversible. Nuclear explosions could cause long-term radiation. Climate effects like nuclear winter could destroy agriculture. Global economies could collapse. Human survival itself could be at risk. Because of these dangers, countries now focus on diplomacy, peace talks, and global cooperation. Lessons from history. History teaches us that wars do not solve problems permanently. Instead, they create hatred, suffering, and destruction. Dialogue, tolerance, and understanding between nations are essential. Education about past wars helps new generations understand the value of peace and responsibility. Role of international organizations after world wars. After the massive destruction caused by the world wars, the world realized the need for strong international organizations. League of Nations. After World War I, the League of Nations was created to maintain peace. However, it failed because it had no military power, and many major countries did not fully support it. United Nations, UN. After World War II, the United Nations was established in 1945. Its main goals are prevent wars, protect human rights, promote international cooperation, provide humanitarian aid. Organizations like WHO, UNICEF, and UNESCO work under the UN to improve global health, education, and peace. Economic effects of the world wars. The economic impact of both world wars was severe and long-lasting. After World War I, many European economies collapsed. Inflation and unemployment increased. Germany faced extreme economic hardship due to war penalties. After World War II, entire cities and industries were destroyed. The Marshall Plan helped rebuild Europe. The United States became an economic superpower. New economic systems and trade alliances were formed. Wars showed that economic instability can lead to political extremism and further conflict. Psychological and cultural effects of wars do not only destroy buildings, they deeply affect the human mind. Soldiers suffered from trauma and stress disorders. Art, literature, and films began showing the horrors of war. People became more aware of peace, justice, and human dignity. Memorials were built to honor the dead and remind future generations. The cultural memory of war still influences politics and society today. Youth and education. After the World Wars, education systems changed after the wars to promote peace. History lessons included war consequences. Peace education became important. Students were encouraged to think critically about nationalism and hatred. Exchange programs helped young people understand other cultures. Educated youth are seen as the key to preventing future global conflicts. World War III and the responsibility of humanity. If World War III ever happens, it will not be won by anyone. Modern weapons are too powerful, and the damage would affect every living being on Earth. How World War III can be prevented: diplomatic dialogue instead of violence, respect for international laws, reducing nuclear weapons, promoting tolerance and global unity. Every nation and individual has a role in maintaining peace. Role of media. During the World Wars, media played an important role in shaping public opinion during the World Wars. During World War I, newspapers were the main source of information. Governments used propaganda to increase patriotism. Information was often censored to maintain morale. During World War II, radio became a powerful communication tool. Films, posters, and speeches were used to motivate citizens. Leaders used media to spread ideology and influence people. Media showed how information can be used both for awareness and manipulation. Women and the World Wars. The World Wars changed the role of women in society. Women worked in factories, offices, and hospitals. They replaced men who were fighting on the front lines. Many countries granted women more rights after the wars. Women proved they were capable of handling responsibility and leadership. These changes helped promote gender equality around the world. Scientific developments and ethical questions. Wars accelerate scientific progress, but they also raise moral questions. Medical techniques improved due to battlefield needs. Weapons became more destructive. The invention of nuclear bombs raised ethical debates about humanity's future. Scientists today are encouraged to use knowledge for peace rather than destruction. Environmental impact of the world wars. The ENV. Importance of peace and global unity. Peace is essential for progress and survival. Peace allows education, science, and culture to grow. Cooperation between countries solves global problems. Mutual respect reduces hatred and conflict. Global unity is the strongest weapon against war. Final message to humanity. The world wars remind us that violence leads only to destruction. Power should never be valued more than human life. The responsibility to prevent World War III lies with every nation, leader, and citizen. History should guide us, not repeat itself. Complete ending statement. World War I and World War II were dark chapters in human history that changed the world forever. World War III, if it ever happens, would be a disaster beyond imagination. Therefore, learning from the past and working for peace is not just important, it is essential for the survival of humanity. Timeline of major World War events. World War I timeline. 1914. Assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. 1914 to 1916. Trench warfare spreads across Europe. 1917. United States enters the war. 1918. World War I ends. Germany surrenders. World War II. Timeline 1939. Germany invades Poland. 1941. Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. 1944. D-Day invasion in Normandy. 1945. Atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 1945. World War II officially ends. These timelines show how quickly global conflicts can grow and change the world. Key leaders of the world wars. World War I. Leaders Kaiser Wilhelm II, Germany. Woodrow Wilson, USA. King George V, Britain. World War II leaders Adolf Hitler, Germany. Winston Churchill, Britain. Franklin D. Roosevelt, USA. Joseph Stalin, USSR. Leadership decisions played a major role in the direction and outcome of the wars. Countries most affected by the World Wars, Germany, faced destruction and division. France and Britain suffered heavy losses. Japan experienced nuclear devastation. Russia lost millions of lives. Many Asian and African regions faced colonial exploitation. The wars reshaped borders and global power structures. Cold War, a result of World War II. After World War II, tension grew between the USA and the USSR. This period was called the Cold War. No direct fighting occurred, but fear of World War III increased. Nuclear weapons and military alliances expanded. Proxy wars happened in other countries. The Cold War showed how close the world came to a Third World War. World War III in modern discussions. World War III is often discussed in political debates, news media, movies and books, academic research. Many experts believe future wars may start digitally rather than physically, using cyber attacks and economic pressure instead of soldiers. Glossary, important terms. Alliance, agreement between countries for support propaganda. Information used to influence opinion genocide. Mass killing of a group of people. Nuclear weapon. Extremely powerful bomb diplomacy. Peaceful discussion between nations. Famous quotes about war and peace. War does not determine who is right, only who is left. Bertrand Russell. Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. Albert Einstein. Those who do not learn history are doomed to repeat it. George Santayana. These quotes remind us of the true cost of war. Extended final conclusion. The history of World War I and World War II shows that war brings destruction, suffering, and long-lasting pain. Although technology and power have increased, humanity must choose wisdom over violence. World War III must never happen. Peace, cooperation, and respect among nations are the only paths forward. World wars and human rights development. The destruction and suffering caused by the world wars forced the world to think seriously about human rights. After World War II, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, was created. It aimed to protect basic freedoms such as life, equality, and freedom of speech. War crimes trials, such as the Nuremberg trials, punish those responsible for crimes against humanity. These steps helped establish international law and justice systems. The world learned that protecting human dignity is essential for peace. Refugees and migration. After the World Wars, millions of people were forced to leave their homes during and after the wars. Cities were destroyed, leaving people homeless. Borders changed, forcing families to move. Refugee camps were set up to provide shelter and food. Many countries faced long-term social and economic challenges. Modern refugee laws were created because of these experiences. Impact on developing countries. Although the main battles were fought in Europe and Asia, developing regions were also affected. Colonies provided soldiers and resources. Many countries demanded independence after the wars. New nations emerged in Asia and Africa. Global power shifted away from colonial empires. The world wars accelerated the end of colonialism, arms race, and global security. After World War II, countries focused heavily on military power. Nuclear weapons stockpiles increased. Fear of World War III shaped foreign policy. Military alliances like NATO and Warsaw Pact were formed. Peace depended on balance of power rather than trust. This period showed how fragile global peace can be. Education through museums and memorials. World War museums and memorials play an important role. They honor soldiers and civilians who lost their lives. They educate visitors about war history. They warn future generations about the cost of conflict. Remembering the past helps prevent future wars. Final reflection. The story of the world wars is not just about battles and weapons. It is about human choices. When hatred and ambition replace understanding, war becomes inevitable. When cooperation and empathy lead decisions, peace becomes possible. World War III must remain a warning, not a reality. Ultimate conclusion. World War I and World War II reshaped the modern world through suffering and sacrifice. World War III would threaten human survival itself. Learning from history, strengthening global cooperation, and promoting peace are the greatest responsibilities of humanity today. Role of youth in preventing future world wars. The youth of today will be the leaders of tomorrow, so they play a very important role in preventing future wars. Young people can promote peace through education. Social media can be used to spread awareness, not hate. Youth movements can demand peaceful policies from governments. Learning history helps young generations avoid past mistakes. An educated and responsible youth is the strongest hope for a peaceful world. Diplomacy and peace talks in the modern world. Modern nations try to avoid war through diplomacy. Countries solve conflicts through meetings and negotiations. International summits help reduce tensions. Peace treaties aim to stop violence before it spreads. Organizations like the UN act as mediators. Diplomacy is always better than destruction. Economic cooperation as a tool for peace. Economic cooperation helps reduce the chances of war. Trade builds mutual dependence between countries. Shared projects create trust. Economic stability reduces anger and extremism. Global organizations promote fair economic relations. Countries that work together economically are less likely to fight wars. Role of technology in promoting peace. Although technology can be dangerous, it can also support peace. Satellites help monitor ceasefires. Online communication improves understanding. Early warning systems prevent surprise attacks. Scientific cooperation builds global trust. Technology should be used to save lives, not destroy them. Moral responsibility of world leaders. World leaders carry great responsibility. Their decisions affect millions of lives. Power must be used wisely and ethically. Peace should be prioritized over personal ambition. History judges leaders by their actions. Good leadership can prevent even the biggest conflicts. Message for the future generation. Future generations must remember, war is never glorious. Peace requires effort and sacrifice. Humanity is one global family. Cooperation is stronger than conflict. Only through unity can the world survive and progress. Extended closing statement. The lessons of World War I and World War II are clear. War destroys everything in its path. World War III, if it ever occurs, could end human civilization. Therefore, learning from history, strengthening peace, and promoting global understanding is the duty of every human being. World wars and changes in global power. The world wars completely changed the balance of power in the world. Before World War I, European empires dominated global politics. After World War II, many old empires weakened or collapsed. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers. Power shifted from colonial control to ideological influence. These changes shaped modern international relations. Nationalism, a cause and a consequence. Nationalism played a strong role in both world wars. Extreme nationalism caused hatred between nations. It pushed countries to prove superiority through war. After the wars, nationalism also helped colonies gain independence. Balanced nationalism can unite people, but extreme nationalism leads to conflict. Understanding this balance is important for global peace.